Good evening and welcome. From the high-stakes diplomacy in Cairo to the jubilant streets of Goma, we track the movement of a continent navigating both crisis and triumph. This is Africa Focus on KOW TV. My name is Maurice Mbugwa. We begin with a deep dive analysis into the diplomatic stalemate currently freezing the global economy. In Cairo, the Islamic Republic of Iran has reportedly signaled that it will not budge from its hardline position despite the overwhelming international pressure for an end to the Operation Epic Fury conflict. A senior Iranian diplomat, Moshtaba Ferdowsipour, stated this week that Tehran is only interested in a win-win framework with Washington, one that ensures absolute parity between the two sides. From an African perspective, this deadlock is the primary driver of the inflation we are seeing at our local markets. Iran has laid out 5 non-negotiable conditions to end the hostilities, chief among them being a total cessation of what they term as targeted assassinations and aggressions by US and Israeli forces. Most concerning for regional stability is Tehran's warning that any location hosting American or Israeli military elements, which includes several strategic bases across the Horn of Africa and the Gulf, could be targeted. While Washington has floated a 15-point peace plan involving strict limits on Iran's missiles and nuclear program, Tehran has reportedly refused to engage directly, choosing instead to communicate through intermediaries. Now, for Africa, the analysis is grim. As long as these two powers refuse to sit at the same table, the Strait of Hormuz, a premium on our fuel and food, will continue to drain our national treasuries. Turning to the Republic of Somaliland, President Abdirahman Mohamed Abdullahi Ero has moved to shield the nation's economy from these very global shocks. On Wednesday, the president convened a high-level summit at the presidential palace, bringing together the titans of Somaliland's business community alongside the heads of the National Bank and fuel reserves. The agenda was clear: how to stabilize the Somaliland shilling and protect citizens from the rising cost of living triggered by the Middle East crisis. Now, President Ero urged business leaders to act with national responsibility, calling for a rescue mindset to prevent market speculation. While the business community acknowledged the pain of soaring import insurance and transportation costs, they provided a vital assurance to the public. There are currently no immediate shortages of food or fuel. To ensure this remains the case, the government and the private sector have agreed on a landmark series of measures. These include the formation of a joint technical committee to monitor prices, a strategic expansion of national reserves, and a review of tax policies to support businesses during this period of uncertainty. Now, by exploring alternative trade routes and pushing for domestic industrial growth, Hargeisa signals that while it cannot stop the global storm, it is building a much stronger shelter for its people back home. In South Africa, the battle for the streets has reached a new level of intensity. This Wednesday, nearly 50 days into a presidential mandate, soldiers in full combat gear moved into the gang-afflicted township of Cape Town. Under the codename Operation Prosper, armored vehicles rolled into Michelle's Plain and Hanover Park, an area often referred to as the Cape Flat. This deployment isn't just about policing, it is an analysis of a state admitting its civil authorities are overwhelmed. With an average of 60 murders a day nationwide, South Africa currently holds one of the highest homicide rates for any country not officially at war. The presence of the military has reportedly brought a heavy sense of relief to residents who have spent months living in a state of self-imposed curfew. Grandmothers in the region told reporters they have been unable to sleep, fearing their backyards were being used as gang lookouts, while retirees noted that the presence alone of the troops has forced the gunmen to retreat. However, the move is a controversial one. Critics argue that using the army for domestic policing, a tactic South Africa has used for everything from COVID-19 lockdowns to the 2021 riot, is a short-term fix for deep-seated social inequality and a struggling police force. Operation Prosper is scheduled to last a year and cover 5 provinces, but the question remains: what happens when the soldiers eventually leave the streets to the same gangs they are currently suppressing. Finally, we end with a story of pure unrivaled joy. After more than half a century in the footballing world, its market, we are reminded that Africa's story is one of constant movement and unwavering hope. Thank you for joining us on Africa Focus. My name is Maurice Mbugua.